Good evening. I'm Ross from Coonsmith Property Accountants, and we're just going to talk about a common scenario. So this is a client of ours, and they have an existing personal house, and they've sold that property. And they've purchased a new personal house, but they don't want to change school zones for their children just yet. So they purchased a new property for, say, $1 million, make it nice, easy numbers. They're going to rent that out for $750, and they're going to rent a house still in their existing school zone for $700 so that their child can continue school. So it's a pretty standard case. They're wanting to move to a new area. This particular one up in Auckland area, new house for $1 million. But they're not going to move straight away. It's going to be 6 or 12 months before they actually move, and they're going to rent that property out and then move long term once their child finishes school. So they're going to rent it out and also pay rent. So the quick answer that people think is they're receiving 750 for a week, paying 700 a week. It's kind of going to balance out, and they're going to end neutral. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, and we'll go through that. But just the first thing to think about if you are buying a personal house that you're going to rent out short term is think healthy homes. Is it insulated? Does it have the ground sheet underneath? Is there drafts? Does it meet all the other healthy home standards? Because what you might find is you're actually spending thousands of dollars actually just getting it up to healthy home standards so that you can rent it for a residential tenancy. So just something to think about. Think about those costs before you get too carried away with it. I'm just going to share my screen, and yeah, we'll go through how this rental works. So new personal house, to make it easy for me, I've said that it's 12 months. They're buying it. I said 1 million before. 950 was the real figure, so we'll go with the 950. They've got about 550,000 of cash they're going to put in from the sale of their ex-personal house. They're going to have about a $400,000 mortgage. Good house, good Auckland area, easy to rent. They're expecting 52 weeks and expecting about $750 per week. So that's 39,000. 39,000 divided by 950 gives us a 4.11% gross yield. It's not fantastic gross yield, but remember, this is going to be their personal house. They're buying it as a personal house, not a rental, and this is just more to highlight some issues that come up. So they're going to have accounting costs. We're going to have insurance, maybe $2,000, just building insurance to start with, and generally some sort of landlord or rental package with that. Borrowing at the moment, we're about 6.9%, so 27,600 interest. Generally, I'd always suggest a property manager if you're new to the rental game. Most people don't understand the Residential Tenancy Act, RTA, so it's much better to get a property manager if you're not really in the property investing game long term. Rates, maybe they're 2,800 per year, and it's a personal house, so it's probably not the ideal low maintenance property, brick tiled, small gardens for rentals. It probably does have some maintenance. So say 2,500. I'm just overriding my other numbers because it was a rent by room example with a lot more expenses. So I've got 39,000 coming in. I've got 41,000 going out. I've actually got them losing money on this. And yeah, it's not sort of what you expect when you've got 550,000 equity and only 400,000 debt. But this is not a great rental. It's not a great cash flow. They're going to be basically balancing even. From a tax point of view, we can only claim the interest. So that is the interest only. They're probably going to pay some principal payments as well, but that's not deductible. So in this case, we've got a small loss. We would then consider whether it's worth getting a chattel's valuation long term. If this is going to be their only rental ever, they're not really property investors. They're not really interested in property, and they're just a one-off until they move into this personally. They're already making a loss, so it's a little bit thinking about it. But I would still get a chattel's valuation done by Value It, because obviously we're hoping over the next year or so that interest rates go down, and sometimes you might find like the repairs don't happen or something like that. So I would probably still do the chattel's valuation, or wait until that year is finished, wait until 31st of March 25, then work out the basic cash flow and see, do we need the chattel's valuation? It costs about $550. Do we need it to actually, yeah, save us paying some tax? And if it's going to save us a lot more tax than what it's cost, then it would make sense. This one's going to be really marginal. So yeah, I probably would wait until 31st of March 25, see what the cash flow is, then have a look. This case, we're actually running at a small loss. Then what we're thinking about is interest deductibility. So same numbers on my 2024 column. So 2000 accounting, the insurance, the interest, all the other costs, we're losing money. From the 1st of April 24, we're 80% interest deductibility. So 5,520 of that interest won't be allowed to be claimed. And then from the 1st of April 25, we're up to 100% again. This is an existing property. It's not brand new. It's not social housing or another exemption. So we're only allowed 80% from the 1st of April 24 under interest limitation rules. So we do want that chattel's depreciation. We do want to spend the money with value it because it is actually going to save us more than the $550 it's going to cost. So after interest limitation, after the chattel's depreciation, we're expecting to make about $1,000. We're then looking at paying tax on it, $375. I'll actually just take that comment back. Still, that chattel's depreciation is still very, very borderline, and I still would fix those figures. This one, if we took out that $2,000 chattel's depreciation, it will have, yeah, $1,035 of tax. So if we add that in, I had $2,000, so that's saving almost $700 of tax if they're at the 33% tax bracket. So it will be worth it. But it is marginal, so I would still definitely be checking and seeing how that works out. But in this case, we're losing money, but due to interest limitation, we're going to be paying $375 in tax still. So basically, because the mortgage is about $400,000 and the interest on that is at a high rate, 6.9%, it's basically cancelling out our income and we've got very little profit. So they're just some key things to sort of think about with it. Definitely remember the healthy homes. Yeah, remember if you're buying a personal house and going to rent it out for a period, you're still going to have to be healthy homes compliant if you're going to lease it out long-term residential or Residential Tenancy Act. If you were going to Airbnb it, you wouldn't have to meet those requirements, so that can be an option, and that's what some people do. I hope you enjoy that. If you are looking at doing something like this, you've got a personal house, you bought another one, you're going to rent that out, you're buying a rental property, you just want to see whether your rental structure's the smartest. Can we do things smarter to reduce tax or reduce risk? Worth having a free chat with me, and I'll put my link tree in the comments, and at the top of that, it's got a free chat with me. So yeah, it's a great way of just seeing what we can do, discuss some options, see whether it's worth having an actual meeting or what we can do for you. Or I can just provide you a quote if you're looking at someone else doing your 2024 financial statements and tax returns. Well, hopefully you find that helpful. And yeah, thanks a lot. Bye.